This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about the now famous promo that Steve Austin cut in the locker room. He's got Vince, Jericho, Kane, Undertaker, and yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And Vince is giving a pep talk, and Austin agrees with it the whole time, just repeating the words that he's saying. How hard is it to keep a straight face during all this?
It was so hard. I think that pre-tape we actually did 3 or 4 times because people were laughing. So, Austin was just on fire. Vince didn't have anything scripted. He was coming up with this ad-lib stuff, and Austin was just repeating him. And Austin was in incredible stone cold fashion. He is one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and he's one of the most entertaining individuals. He can do everything. He's an ass kicker. He's a beer drinker, a redneck. He's stone cold Steve Austin, but he can be a funny son of a bitch too.
In hindsight, do you think the comedy hurt the quote unquote heat on this angle? I know that me and you have discussed this a little bit, but I want to double down for just a minute. There's a saying in wrestling, and I can't wait to get your 2 cents. Funny doesn't draw money. And I know some guys would disagree with that, and they argue that, well, that's not the case. And you are one of the comedic geniuses of wrestling. Your execution on some of Brian's words and ideas and concepts are still being talked about to this day. Where do you stand on the whole funny doesn't draw money?
I think that funny does draw money to an extent. I don't think that it's going to draw the big time money.
It's not main event worthy.
No, it's not main event worthy. You need to be taken seriously. The reason I think I was able to do it is because I was a real badass in real life, and the fans knew I was. So, I could still draw big time money because the fans took me seriously in the ring, even though I was being goofy and funny outside the ring. And I can't think of any other reason than that, how I was able to get away with it for so long.
I'm curious, when you said I sort of freestyled, it's not main event, and then you agreed, and Austin's here doing comedy, trying to sell the main event of the biggest, most bankable idea that wrestling fans have clamored to for decades. And they're doing comedy. In hindsight, it had to hurt the drawing ability of this match, didn't it?
I think a little bit. Back then I wasn't educated on what drew money and what didn't draw money.
Yeah.
So I was just doing what I was told. But I think that Austin, he wanted to take a break from being the top baby face. I think he wanted to show a different side of himself. And I think that he was every bit as vocal about doing these pre-tapes as Vince was. I think Austin wanted to take a break from Stone Cold Steve Austin and wanted to show a different side of himself.
So let's talk about just where you are overall on the programming at the time. On our build here again, even though it is a hot angle, we don't really have the physicality that we might normally because you and Austin are bumped up. So we're doing a lot of comedy, as we've touched on, with Steve, yourself, Vince, and Deborah. In hindsight, do you think that this, and Lord, I enjoyed both versions, but we've seen 2 versions of Kurt Angle, really, right? We've seen the wrestling machine, the badass killer. I'm going to fucking do what I want. I'm going to impose my will on you and you can't stop it. And then we've also seen, for lack of a better word, the geeky, corny Kurt Angle. And I realize that that's you playing a character. Both are you playing a character, very humble, nice man in real life, But did you think that was going to hurt your quote unquote drawing ability, or do some of the old timers, some of the veterans in the locker room come over and say, hey, I know you hadn't been here for very long, but maybe that's not a good idea. Does somebody put a bug in your ear or make you second guess being silly and cheesy?
Well, at the time that's what Vince wanted me to do. He wanted me to be funny and goofy and nerdy. And his explanation was, listen, he even did a pre-tape with Austin where Austin came in and said, Vince, listen, we need to get rid of Angle. He's a dork. And Vince said, yes, but he's a dangerous dork. So that's what Vince was trying to build, was this dangerous dork that fans took seriously in the ring, but didn't take quite seriously outside the ring. And that's the character that Vince wanted to produce for me. Obviously, in the future, a couple years later, Vince decided he didn't want that anymore. He wanted the wrestling machine Kurt Angle. So I was just doing what Vince McMahon wanted me to do. And I enjoy playing both characters.
Right.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.